Welcome back to Today in Esports. We had a jam-packed weekend of epic wins and heartbreaking losses across several esports titles. Let's talk about the biggest stories from over the weekend. How could we not start with Valorant? The weekend kicked off with the winners finals where NRG would swiftly 2-0 Fnatic without breaking a sweat and sending them into the lower bracket finals where they would await the winner of DRX versus PaperX. Going into that series, PaperX held a 10-6 record in the head-to-head against DRX, but under the bright lights and in front of thousands of spectators, DRX would rise to the occasion and dispatch yet another top-seeded team, moving on to face Fnatic in a best-of-5. DRX would start against Fnatic with an impressive 13-8 win on Sunset, and for a moment, it looked like they were destined to make the lower bracket run of the year. That is, of course, until Fnatic woke up and absolutely dominated the next 3 games to win that series and earn another chance against NRG. The stage was set for Grand Finals, where one of these two teams would be going home $1 million richer. At the onset of Grand Finals, NRG were off to a blistering pace. The first 2 games of the best-of-5 were not even close. They ended at 13-6 on Corrode and 13-3 on Lotus. Game 3 looked like more of the same thing. NRG would finish the half up 11-1, and it looked like the tournament would be ending quickly at the onset of the next half, with NRG only needing to win 2 more rounds. But then, something shifted. Fnatic started to lock in, and with the crowd behind them, they won their first 5 rounds on defense before NRG won 1 round to get to 12, and they would sit on match point. But surely they'd win 1 more round before Fnatic could win 6, right? Wrong. Fnatic put on an absolute masterclass, winning 6 more rounds in a row to tie things up 12-12 and to force an overtime, where they would also clutch up and win the game and extend the series. Game 4 on Ascent, Fnatic continued to apply pressure to NRG, and they would win that 13-8. At this point, to force a dramatic Game 5. At this point, NRG had to start worrying, and they were really about to get reverse swept after being up 2-0 in the series and 11-1 on Game 3. The good news for them was that the final map, Sunset, had been one of Fnatic's worst all year, and NRG would take advantage of that to finally lock up and win Game 5 13-5, holding on to the reverse sweep and earning $1 million. After this win, NRG's Ethan became the first player to win 2 different championship titles with 2 different teams, while rookie Brock was named the MVP of the tournament. Now let's talk League of Legends. The Asia Invitational, or ASI, has just begun, and Day 1 is concluded, and we saw DK defeating JDG, BFX defeating NS, and Weibo defeating GAM. Here are all the matches scheduled for tomorrow. Group play continues for the next 3 days, while bracket play will begin on Friday. And after ASI's conclusion, Worlds will begin on Tuesday, October 14th. In other league news, it is rumored that Sentinels will be the org to replace 100 Thieves in the LCS next year. And we also saw Riot announce that lane swapping rules have been adjusted for Worlds, changing the penalty timer to 4 minutes, but for the top lane only. And we'll have to wait and see how this has an impact on the World stage. Shifting gears to the world of Counter-Strike, Stage 2 Swiss has kicked off at EPL Season 22, and it had some shocking upsets. In the last episode in Today in Esports, we highlighted Team Hotu for coming in as one of the bottom 4 ranked teams and finding a way to go undefeated through Stage 1. Most assumed that when facing off against the Mongols, a current top 3 team in the world, Hotu's win streak was likely to come to an end. But Hotu proved that Stage 1 wasn't a fluke and did exactly the opposite with an impressive 2-1 win over one of the world's hottest teams. Unfortunately, the streak did come to an end after running into Team Spirit and Team Vitality, who both handled Hotu with 2-0s. Hotu have their backs against the wall and have to win their next 2 Swiss matches in order to make it to the playoff bracket. The other undefeated team from Stage 1, Inner Circle, also found a win over the Mongols, but ended up losing to Furia and Team Spirit, so they'll also need to find 2 more wins to make it to the playoff. And the other massive upset so far through this stage was Gentlemates. They took down Team Vitality, the team that won 7 lands in a row earlier this year. And they also won the Austin Major. So many are wondering how this Goliath team has fallen so far, and they continue to struggle ever since they signed a sponsorship deal with major gambling website Stake. But at the time of recording this video, Astralis is the only team that has been fully eliminated from this Stage 2. They went 0-3, and here are some of the matches that we'll see over the next couple days. Also, over the weekend, right here in Charlotte, the Halo Championship Series hosted one of the last Halo tournaments of the year and the most important one for World Championship qualification. The HCS Major format features an open bracket where anyone can enter and compete for a chance to advance into pool play, where they'll join the top 12 pro teams in the tournament. Longtime grinders and perpetual last round open bracket losers, Team Legion would finally get over the hump to qualify for pools for the first time in their competitive careers, only for one of their players, Gunplexion, to get into an altercation in the venue and get banned from competing indefinitely. Many are heartbroken for his teammates who will not have to use their coach as a substitute player in the World Championship, but subscribe to GGN to see our episode of Alt-Tab where we'll break down the situation in more detail. Besides the drama, the most exciting part of the weekend was the success stories of multiple international teams. Team Mindfreak from the ANZ region and Akave from Latin America would both fight through the open bracket and go on to place top 8 and make the highest ever placings for their respective regions. Both teams secured themselves a spot at the Halo Infinite Last World Championship, set to take place in 3 weeks' time in Seattle, Washington. As far as the rest of the tournament goes, it was business as usual until the lower bracket finals, where FaZe would upset Optic for the first time in bracket play all year and deny us another Optic versus Shopify Rebellion Grand Final. Shopify would ultimately make the entire tournament look easy as they would dispatch FaZe 4-1 in Grand Finals and only lost 3 maps for the entire tournament. So far this year, Optic and Shopify have been the top 2 seeded teams by far, each winning 2 LANs respectively, heading into Worlds. But here's a breakdown of all the teams that will be competing in Seattle at Worlds here in 3 weeks. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Global Gaming Network to stay up to date with all things gaming and esports. See you in the next video.